Yeah, we'll go with one more video here. We'll just do a short one here. Talking about this harness. I'll go ahead and put it on for you guys. I'm gonna take this crap out of my pockets. All my keys and all this other junk. You could put it on with all that stuff in your pockets, but I'd rather not. Then you gotta kind of work around stuff. Oh, another thing is too, is you always need a hand saw with you, like a folding saw. Fiskars, Baco, Lapland, Baco, Lapland, or something like that. If you're climbing up in a tree, you always want a little saw like that. In case for some reason you get your top handle saw pinched or whatever, you get into a situation, you need something to do a little cutting, You always keep that with you. So, when I got this, I got it big. I got it big on purpose. So that sometimes I'm out doing stuff in the winter time. There are times that I've been out in the winter climbing stuff, right? So, anyway, get it big so you can go over, at least a jack shirt or something like that, right? Get it kind of big. So I got it all the way. It's all the way. Alright? And this Buckingham has an extra piece right there because they probably listened. Now this is something that would be tucked in if I were actually out doing stuff. My crucifix there. So anyway, the thing about a sit harness is that I like these two big D-rings. Those are rated at about 5,000 pounds each. These D-rings are, so you can, max braking strength 5K each. So that's what I like about the steel D-rings is that like the steel, my steel tie-in carabiner, you don't have to worry about overloading these or loading them and, oh, I can't do that because I'm going to load it in a certain direction. You don't have to worry about that. This stuff is bomb-proof. This is an Omega 70KN, right? I've got some 70KN rated rings. I've got 4 of them, and what I do with those, I've actually put them on this bridge ring so that I could do redirects. When I was doing that one big tree, I had it set up to basically crane itself. So the thing about this one is that it's real comfortable. You could sit it, right, like a swing, okay? And then you just tie in right there with your main, and you can clip that in. I always did Blake's hitch. I always did Blake's hitch. They'll probably be doing Blake's hitch again. They got all these fancy doodads. Like I saw this friend of mine. Well, he's kind of like an acquaintance, more or less, in town. He's an arborist, and I saw him using this device called an akimbo. That looked pretty cool. He loves it. But there's a lot of mechanical devices nowadays. Just a lot. But I learned how to tie specific knots and use Blake's hitch. But anyway, we got these pieces here, and what these do is these keep us from falling out of our swing seat, right? So the the actual, what actually is safety is this right here. So these rings with this heavy duty seat, this heavy duty swing seat, it comes all the way underneath our thighs and back of our butt there. That's our safety mechanism. And these right here, these leg loop pieces, they just keep us in there. Alright? They just keep us in there. So that's why we don't have to worry too much about these buckles. Okay? So people say, well, that buckle doesn't look like a rated thing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's rated to a certain extent, I'm sure. But what takes the load is this. This right here, these D-rings, which between these two, these are rated to 10,000 pounds. And then you're sitting in a swing seat, basically, right there. Now, I've got this part is actually tied into my waist belt via this rope bridge that I put in there myself. So I can hang extra crap off there, redirects, whatever, if I want. I got my flip line here, right? Got other stuff. This right here is just a little chainsaw clip if I want it. This is supposed to be for a chainsaw or other whatnot, you know. And then I got this little carabiner here. I was using that for something, I don't remember what. But I've got somewhere on here, I guess. I probably got another pulley on here. There it is. Alright. Here's another pulley. Alright. So I got a couple pulleys. This is a road rescue system, so I don't remember about that. Who owned that company? Omega carabiner, auto lock. This is a CMI pulley. I used to use, well, I still do. I go back and forth between DDRT and SRT. So you got the double rope set up, and then you got single rope set up. Just depends on what I'm gonna do, you know. And this is just basic carabiner, non-locking. Had that for years. I generally will use that for things like, you know, a redirect and just this and that. Right now I just got it holding this on here. Then I use my locking carabiners. I got a bunch more of this crap. You just don't see it here. Right. I got a bunch of locking carabiners. I got some that are non-locking. But the things that are non-locking are that I use them for non-critical things generally. But your main tie-in is steel. 70 KN Omega UL classified right there. Yep, this actually says max braking strength 72 KN. There. It weighs a bit, but when you're looking at your life, what's it worth? You know, what's your life worth to you when you're up high? You know, all of your kit should be overkill. It should all be overkill, every bit of it. You never want to skimp on life support stuff. Right, and then I got stuff where I can hang things off, loops. I've had this thing totally weighed down with all kinds of stuff. And then of course you got your top handle saw, you know. Generally have that on a lanyard, and then I'll hang it you know, here on the harness, or I'll just let it hang down, you know. But you got to watch out with letting your saw hang on the lanyard. I mean, sometimes you're in precarious positions where, you know, you don't want that saw right next to you when you're moving around, and maybe you're not going up or down, but you're just kind of like in this one little area and you're doing stuff, and you just let your saw down on its leash and then let it hang, and then do whatever you're doing, and then pull it back up, and then cut, right? But sometimes things happen. Yeah, I had my saw that's a Husqvarna T435, and I pulled it back up, and the little switch was missing. Apparently it banged against the tree trunk and the switch fell out. So I went to the Husqvarna saw shop. I looked up the part, and I went to the saw shop. I said, I need you to order me this switch. So the guy ordered me the switch, and it came in, and I took that section apart and put the new switch in there. But that was just kind of a really weird situation. I never seen that happen before. But those are the kinds of things that can happen. And the saw was running. I was in the middle of doing some stuff, so the saw was running, and that's your kill switch. So how do you turn a saw off where you have no off switch? Right? That's what you're probably thinking. Well, the way you turn a saw off when it doesn't want to turn off, when you don't have an off switch, you just on the back end of the saw near the air cleaner is the choke, and you just open the, go ahead and pull that choke open, and it will kill itself. That doesn't sound like a nice term, but yeah, it just, yeah, it'll shut itself down real quick when you open that choke. Oh, look, hey, totally forgot I had this in here. I'm gonna repaint this. Somebody painted this McCullough yellow, I guess, or what they thought was McCullough yellow. Anyway, old crosscut saw. I'm gonna clean that up and sharpen it up. That's a SHTF backup. In case you need to get her done and you don't have any saw, no bar oil, no chainsaw fuel. You gotta get her done anyway. Whew. Yeah, it's a hot one. No AC in this old 200-year-old house, so I'm running a couple fans over there. Yep. Alright, well, run out of time again, as usual, but thought I'd put this harness on. But if you're looking at a new harness, man, I'd really look at that camp harness. They got a camp tree harness, and you get the full-blown shoulder strap configuration and so forth. Make it official for working at heights. If if you were working on a bridge or something, that would be a really nice harness. That's a nice looking harness. Yeah. You spend a lot of time in a harness, you want a good one. Just remember that. And if you're going to spend a lot of time working with a chainsaw, you want a good one. Buy professional. Don't buy the homeowner stuff. Even if you're not going to be working with a chainsaw a lot, buy the professional. Don't buy the homeowner, because the professional will last you for a very long time, especially if you're a homeowner, right? But buy you a good harness. See how wide that is in the back? You know, that's a nice one. I've had this for a number of years now. But if I were going to go for a new harness, I'd sure be looking at that doggone camp tree harness. That's a nice harness. Catch you guys later.